Don't edit as you go. That's the first piece of advice I received as a writer, and it's something I hear repeated quite often. But that advice doesn't necessarily sit well with me. It's not that it's bad advice. In fact, it works for a lot of people. But as with any advice, it isn't a one size fits all. I'd like to amend this advice to what I believe the core message is. Don't get trapped in editing hell. By that I mean don't write chapter one and proceed to go back over it and edit it until it's perfect before proceeding to chapter two. Doing that will guarantee that you never finish your manuscript. And spoiler alert, it will never be perfect. It also means don't choke off your current creative stream to edit out minor mistakes. Let the words come as they are until you hit a block. Most writing advice for beginners encourages you to just write and get to the end of your manuscript as quickly as possible. Mistakes be damned. For me, looking back and seeing that mess of a manuscript does the opposite of motivate me. And considering that my manuscripts can take months, maybe even years to write, kids are an absolute joy for everything except free time. I constantly go back and reread what I've written to re-enter the world and the characters' headspaces. And if on that reread imposter syndrome rears its ugly little head, as it often does, and I see a pile of writing that makes me queasy and inspires the urge to light it on fire, I'll find myself at the bottom of a writing slump 3 days deep, at minimum. So I do edit as I go, slightly. Not for perfection, and definitely not when the words are flowing. It's mostly developmental, and it's just enough to where I don't want to walk my laptop into oncoming traffic. My brain seems to have a fun little switch that I can't control, where sometimes it's in writing mode, and others I can't maintain a coherent creative thought to save my life. But I can edit really well, and my eyes become bloodhounds for typos, plot holes, and inconsistencies. So when those moments strike, I don't fight the creative river. I go back and edit and reread and conceptualize what's next, like any good pantser who's never outlined a day in their life. So I'll say it's absolutely okay to edit as you go, if that's what works for you. My only advice is not to trap yourself in an endless editing cycle, and don't kill your writing sprint over a pesky little typo. Wait until you're done and zap that little bastard with backspace whenever your brain batter stops churning and decides it wants to contemplate life decisions instead.